Matt Aguilar here from Comicbook.com, and with me today I have the pleasure of talking to Jack Quaid, who of course plays Huey on the mega hit The Boys. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm loving the background in your room right now, or the office.
Right,
you have so much cool stuff.
You can't see it, but on the other side of this is like a wrecked kitchen. But this looks dope. This looks dope. That's all that matters.
I have gotten very used to making just segments of my room look presentable.
Yes.
During this time, you know, like my apartment, there's like entire rooms now where I'm just like, I don't want to go in there. It's just it's just wrecked. And then there are rooms where I'm like, oh, this can be on Zoom. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
This one white wall behind me.
This wall makes me look like I have my stuff together. I do not.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's all that matters. So yeah, let's talk The Boys. So of course, this is easily one of the most anticipated shows that's coming this year. And you know, the first season of Boys, like the first 20 minutes, kind of just like threw everybody. I feel like everybody went in, even people who read the comic and who were expecting brutal things and some really dark humor and things like that. I don't think they still thought that like, oh, they'll do it on the show. And then like it floored everybody and everyone's jaw hit the floor. So that was pretty immediate in season 1. So for season 2, I know, you know, we can't dive into spoilers, but you know, is it going to take that same approach as far as like the way it's starting the season? Is it going to kind of be one of those gut punch type of things, or is it going to take a little bit of a different, you know, tack? Is it going to maybe spread things out a little bit because now people are expecting the crazy?
Right. That's a really good question. I think that a thing that I think is so important for a second season of a show is that you go deeper, not bigger. So we definitely do that. We go deeper with every single character, including the Deep. And we really make sure that the audience knows what makes all these characters tick, even more so than we did with season 1. Having said that, yeah, we did go bigger also. Like we have, you know, stuff I can't give away, but we have some set pieces, some moments that are, you know, classic Boys. You know, it's where it's just insanity and your jaw's gonna hit the floor and then the sewer and then the core of the earth. Like it's just so absolutely nuts this season. And I can't say anything, but I can't wait for fans to see it because we really do go nuts, like truly nuts.
Is it kind of nice to say, like, because it's so nonchalant now, it's like classic Boys? That's got to be
classic Boys.
That's got to be kind of cool, right? Because like, has it said
that was cool
all the way?
That was like cool. That was the first time I ever said that. That was cool to say. That was fun. It's just classic Boys. You know, you guys get it. Well, it's so nice now to be able to talk about the show in a way of like everybody has seen it and you know, be like, oh, you understand, because trying to elevator pitch the show was so hard in the first season. I like with my friends, they're like, so what's the show about? I'm like, okay, so they're superheroes, right? But they're bad. But then there's us who, and what I wound up doing was just describing that scene with Robin, like you just alluded to in the beginning, where you know everything about the show immediately. Like that's just what you know superheroes are bad. You know they can cause collateral damage. You know why the boys are out for revenge. So that's what I started doing. And now the fact that like I can just talk about season 1 freely with you is just so nice, just to knowing that it's out there.
Well, so, you know, going from season 1 to season 2, season 1, I felt like kind of was a sleeper hit. And because there were, you know, there's this audience that hasn't read the comic, and so it's just kind of first getting introduced to this. And then slowly but surely, like picking up steam and a lot of word of mouth. So when, you know, season 2, of course, is already in development. You know, they're already writing things and stuff like that even before the first season goes. I mean, all this stuff kind of has to get started early to make it here. But was there a lot of, you know, or any in that respect, fan feedback that, you know, was kind of brought into season 2, like we need to do a little less of this, we need to do a little more of this? What is that kind of thing factored in, or is it, you know, this is just like a creator vision thing?
I think that's more so a writing question, because I don't know if it did factor into season 2, they probably didn't tell us. But I'm sure. I mean, you have to be able to. I know some episodes were written before the show came out, before like the season 1 dropped. But I'm sure with later episodes, they definitely we're Eric is just such a responsible, amazing showrunner, and he wants to make this the best possible experience for the fans, as do we all. So yeah, of course, I'm sure that they took feedback.
Well, so and this is just a side question, but curious. Have you ever actually seen yourself drawn by Derek Robertson?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Really?
Last year he did. It used to be like my Twitter banner for the longest time. Maybe I'll put it back up. But he drew all of us in kind of the way he would draw the boys comic, but it was the actors from the show playing the parts. Gotcha. And yeah, it was surreal. It was really cool.
One of the focuses of season 1, with Huey in particular, was the relationship with Billy and a relationship with Starlight. How in season 2 do those relationships evolve in a different way? Because we're such in a different space after season 1 ends.
It's interesting because in season 1, Huey really needs Butcher in season 1 to an extent. Butcher's a guy that fights for what he believes in. That's something that Huey lacks, and he doesn't see it in his own father. So Butcher kind of becomes a surrogate older brother figure, father figure, and there's something that is really appealing to Huey about Butcher, because he's a guy that actually takes what he wants and stands up for what he believes in. But then he starts to realize, okay, this guy's going to get us all killed, because he's just a man on a mission, and he can't stop to see any morally gray area. He can't stop to see that some of these superheroes are actually good people. Not all of them are corrupt and terrible. And then at the end of the first season, he abandons us essentially to go after Homelander. So yes, that relationship gets super complicated because Huey's trying to step up a little bit and finish the fight. And when he sees Butcher again, it's really contentious because he's onto him now. He's onto all of his razzle dazzle. He understands who he really is, and he showed his true colors at the end of first season. At the end of the first season, abandoning them. So I gotta say that was one of the more rewarding aspects of season 2 for me, is just exploring that relationship with Butcher now that Huey doesn't necessarily need him in the same way that he did in season 1. And then with Starlight, Huey feels terrible about what happened in season 1 and how he was essentially lying to her the whole time. And I'll just leave it at that. He is truly at a low point when we first see him.
With Huey, where we are at the beginning of season 2, is there a giant jump by when we get to the end of season 2? Is it going to be that bigger? Because we saw the jump from season 1 at the beginning of season 1 to the end of season 1. Huey's so different in so many ways. Is it that same type of jump in season 2, or is it a little different?
You mean over the course of the season?
Yeah, like as a character, are we going to see that kind of growth and jump?
Yeah. I think you see it from everybody. What I really like about Huey's arc, without giving too much away, is that Huey is a person who, for the longest time in his life, was kind of relying on other people to kind of tell him what to do and tell him where to go. And we see it even with Robin. Like he loves her so much, but he's very dependent on people, and season 2, we see him try to kind of come into his own a little bit and understand, what does he want from all of this? And I think I'm going to leave it at that. I don't know how much more I can say, but that's yeah.
So we can't talk about boys without talking about the Seven. Right. I feel like it would be. I think it's safe to say that like everyone has their favorite member, and like all of them had crazy moments throughout the first season. But I feel like Homelander was the one that stuck out the most to people.
Oh yeah, of
just
course.
because of some of the screwed up things he did by the end of season 1. So in season 2, if you had to guess and you had to estimate, by the end of season 2, who is the member of the 7 that people will be talking about the most?
Oh God.
It could just be Homelander again.
I think it might just be Homelander again, but I think every member of the 7 has, I mean, they do, I don't know. I can't say so much, but I think the 7 gets more complicated, more interesting. Everyone takes interesting turns from that group. I think you're really going to be surprised. I will say, I think you're really going to be blown away by Aya Cash as Stormfront. Again, I can't say too much about her, but she is just a force, and she's gonna bowl you guys over. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I can't wait. And from the teases and everything, it looks like such a polar opposite to, well, any of the team really, but to Homelander specifically. I can't wait to see that dynamic.
It's gonna be insane.
I know you've got to run pretty soon. But I know that you are a big gamer, both of the tabletop variety and of the video game variety.
I'm wearing a BioShock shirt right now.
I was like representing. That's amazing.
Yeah. There we go.
So if you had to turn it into a game, would you rather turn it into a video game, or would you rather turn it into an RPG?
As in like a tabletop RPG?
A tabletop, straight up D&D, like Pathfinder role-playing game.
I think I would turn to a video game only because there are... Okay, let's just assume you could play as like anybody. That's like so many different types of game wrapped into one, you know? Like you can play as essentially Superman, or you can play as, one of us, grunts on the ground, and make it like kind of a first-person shooter. There's just a lot of stuff you could do.
You could play as the 7
or the boys.
Oh
yeah, make
God.
it like I've always wanted them to, like, I don't know. There's so many legal things to figure out with that, but I've been spending a lot of my time playing Fortnite with Jesse T. Usher, who plays A-Train, and every time in quarantine, that's what you do. And every time I play, I'm like, this is perfect for like our characters, like just for skins. Yeah. Oh
my God, why aren't there boys Fortnite skins?
Yeah, it just makes so much sense.
Oh my God,
makes so much sense.
It
needs to be a thing. But man, yeah, I'm trying to think of like what I think you could make many different games out of the boys franchise. Because there's a game you can make it all about A-Train. You can make it all about the boys and make it kind of like a tactical, first-person shooter, third-person shooter type of thing. There's a lot of potential there, and it'd be cool as an RPG too, as a tabletop RPG too. But I just think the different kinds of gameplay you could get from a video game would be really cool.
I would need to get Rocksteady on that. That needs to be.
Yeah, yes, get them. Get the guys that did Arkham Asylum and Arkham City and all that stuff. Get them, yes.
Well, that is a wonderful note to leave it on. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk. Can't wait to see what the season holds. And for more boys coverage, you can check out Comicbook.com.